Good morning folks, I would like to do a blatant bit of advertising. Here is the Armitage Leather Tools Burnisher. It's made from ash. There will be different woods available as time progresses. It has 7 grooves, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 and 12 for different thicknesses of leather, 2 being the thinnest that you potentially would need a burnisher for. Any thinner than 2mm, you're looking at quite a soft leather, and that'll crumple, and this possibly wouldn't work so well. But then your 3mm, your bridle, your double 3mm, so 2 pieces of 3mm together will go quite nice. A couple of pieces of bridle together will go quite nice, and we'll have a look at that in more detail. This last groove here is actually there for aesthetics. It's engraved around the outside here with justwood.com, made in England, and on the end is Armitage Leather, handmade leather tools. So very, very nice, very well made. The interesting thing about this, and I appreciate a lot of burnishes you see will go on a drill, this doesn't have a bar sticking out. This has a collar inside it. The collar's quite deep, so this sits entirely over the shaft. There's no wood that touches the metal whatsoever. This locks into place with a grub screw to make it absolutely firm and safe, and here's one we have here. And just to show you how easy it is, this is a bog standard Draper 6-inch bench grinder with a 1/2 inch shaft, and this fits on an absolute drill. Undo the grub screw, that comes off. Normal 1/2 inch shaft, so again everyone's exactly the same. That slides on, there's no wood touching the shaft at all, so there's nothing to wear from the inside. That grub screw locks through the collar onto the shaft, but extends beyond the collar and is still very proud in the wood, and as a result of that, that's locking the wood onto the collar in case the fixing ever fails. Very unlikely, but there's nothing wrong with being additionally safe. We've got this running. You can see how that runs really, really nicely. Generates a fair bit of heat, and all we have to do then is add our piece of leather and slick away. You could take some beeswax, saddle soap, gum tragacanth, whatever your choice of burnishing lubricant is. Nice bit of beeswax on there. Take it to the 3mm, because this is 3mm veg tan. And there we are, just like that. Absolute beautiful polished edge with all the fibres heated up, slicked down. How's that? Turn that off. Don't stop it with your hand, that's silly. An absolutely beautiful shiny edge. I'll see if I can get a bit of a close-up on that. Now you can buy the burnishers from a company called Just Wood. Just Wood is a company that I've teamed up with. They've been going since 1897. I hope I've got that right. I should do. I've got it written down somewhere. They have been turning wood for a great number of years and are masters at their trade. And as a result, they have produced something that is quite phenomenal. We've worked quite hard together to get this right. It does work. We will have a look at the video in a little bit more detail of this working. But you can buy this from justwood.com. You can go to my website, armitageleather.com, and you can go to the shop and you will see a link to it there. You will also be able to see a link down the bottom, and I will also put a link on my Facebook page. It's £75 plus shipping, so wherever you are in the world you need to add a proportionate shipping rate onto that. Folks, we'll have a look at it in action, see what you think, but I think you'll be surprised at what a quality piece of kit has been made by Just Wood. Have a look at the website, see what else they've got. We are talking about other tools, so do pay attention. There may be more coming out soon, but this is the first, hopefully, of a long run. If you are a stockist or a dealer and you wish to sell them, then please drop us an email. We're happy to speak to you. If you're an individual that just feels you can't live without one of these in your life, then by all means drop us an email or go to justwood.com and you can buy one directly there. Folks, have a quick look, see what you think. I hope you enjoy. Good luck and buy one. Thank you. So part of the process to get the best edge from the burnisher is to sand. I put a piece of steel across this to take off most of the harsh edge. This is 250, just to take I want a bit of grit, but I don't want too much. And I just want to take this rough edge off here. It's had a bevel put on it. Appreciate it's a scrap piece, but it's had a bevel put on it, and it's had a crease put down it, just to give you a bit of a look. And this edge here, whilst we could slick straight onto it, is still a little rough. But what we're going to do, just take it to the drum and then just take that harsh edge off. Now this is a piece of Dakota dyed through shoulder. I also have a small case, but this is in English bridle that's been split down. This has been dyed, but the edge is a little rough, so we're just going to spend a bit of time evening up this edge and getting that grain nice and flat. Okay, so we've taken the sander to our single piece of shoulder and our 2 pieces of bridle. And what we're going to do now, normally I'd have one on one side and one on the other, but for the sake of convenience, mainly the camera, I have one I prepared earlier. And this is where the grub screw locks onto the shaft of the grinder, 12.7mm, and the grub screw is still fairly visible in the wood there. So it's gone through the steel onto the shaft. That's gripped it really tight, but because the grub screw still extends beyond the collar, it's locking the wood into place, so it's super safe. Now what we're going to do, start that up, and we're going to add a little bit of moisture to our shoulder, and then we'll take it to the slicker. And we'll take it, there's our 2mm rule, 2mm groove, and we'll take it to our 3mm groove, because this is 3mm. And just 2 passes, already that edge is coming up a dream. And what I'm going to do is add some wax. Look at that. Let's give it a quick polish on the apron. Just a couple of licks with the burnisher just brings that up beautiful. And because the grooves aren't fully domed, so they don't go all the way round, they stop, they're flat, and the corners are rounded, it buffs this edge up really, really nicely, so you get a very, very sharp, very smart edge on the front of the leather, with a beautiful, beautiful polished edge at the top. That is absolutely gorgeous. There we are, and that will finish off any article very, very professionally. Okay, let's have a look at the bridle. Again, just going to take this away, add a little bit of moisture. And then we're going to add some beeswax to the edge. And that makes a world of difference. Already we can see the quality edge that this is producing. Not putting a huge amount of pressure on, but look at that. Let's just take that to the apron, one of the most important parts of burnishing edges. Look at that. You can't argue with that. How smooth and shiny is that? Now, for me, I would keep going, because I would take a little bit of wet and dry and then just attack that grain that's living up. It's very much like wood in that respect. As you take some off, it opens up space for more to appear. It's like adding a little bit of moisture to the wood to lift the grain, to sand it off. And leather's very similar in that respect. Again, back to the apron, and we can see that really beginning to punch out a very beautiful shine. And looking at the front, you can see that this edge is pin straight, very sharp. It doesn't push it back, doesn't get a big buckle from forcing it into the slicker, because the grooves are the right size for it. It fits in there nicely and it rounds these edges. That is absolutely gorgeous. And again, let's give it a rub with the apron. Look at that. That's fantastic. Just to cover the point in a little bit more detail, I've got 3 pieces of die through shoulder here. So there's 9mm, 3 pieces of 3mm. And they're glued together and it's been cut. Now the edge has been trimmed with a number 2, so there's a very slight chamfer on the edge, and obviously this area is flat. Now the difficulty with a lot of burnishes that you get, and I'll use this as an example, this is a very good little tool, this one, but this is a full dome, so if I wanted to slick this with this, I'm having to force the 2 outside pieces down to get to the middle piece, or I'm having to do it with a flat edge, at which point there's possibly an unevenness. And having put that much pressure on this, it begins to push this edge down. So what we've done is we've kept the middle section flat, and it's flat on all of these. It's just the corners that are curved, so we get this lovely curve on the edge, but then this flat polish in the middle. And to give you an example, now this is 9mm, so I'm going to slap that in there. That's lovely. I'm going to give this some moisture. Now this isn't sanded, this has just been cut. So we can see there, look at the edge, there's no pressure pushing down, giving any swelling or creasing on the edge. Exactly the same that side, and we're starting to get a really nice flat section there. Give it a little bit more pressure. It's coming down, and what I'm going to do, a little bit of wet and dry, just take that top grain off. And now I'm going to add a little bit of wax. And then same again. And that wax helps the burnisher ride over the leather, but also the burnisher heats up the wax, and the wax is then forced into the fibres on the edge of the leather. There's no dye on this. Look at that. Beautiful. And what we can do, if we don't want to keep on applying the wax to the leather, we can apply the wax straight to the burnisher. Wipe off that excess wax. Let's just take it to the apron for a minute. There's no dye, it's just the dye through leather getting polished. That's not bad, is it? Look at that edge. Look how sharp that edge is, even though we put quite a lot of pressure onto the burnisher pushing that in, because those curves on the inside of the groove are designed to fit the width of the leather. We get this lovely flat edge that's maintained and this perfect line. So if we want to add an edge coat or a dye now, we've got plenty of opportunity. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to add a little bit of dye to this, and you can see what you think. Turn that off. I'll be back in a moment. How's that, folks? That's 9mm of leather, a beautiful flat edge, nicely rounded edges, pin straight line, no puckering, no pushing or bending. And if that's the front of your bag where your stitching is going, that's going to look fantastic. So I think really we've got a winner there. That's I'm impressed with it, and it's my tool. Folks, you need one of these in your life. I knew I did, and I've got one, and I can't argue with that. That is so simple. Enjoy.